Rick Harrison once stood as the face of modern American hustle, a man who turned a dusty Las Vegas pawn shop into a global television empire. For more than a decade, Pawn Stars made him a household name and redefined how the world viewed pawn shops. But behind the bright lights, witty negotiations, and viral moments, Rick's real life was quietly unraveling. By 2025, the empire he built brick by brick began to crack. Pawn Stars disappeared without ceremony. No grand farewell. No explanation from the History Channel. His son Corey walked away, calling the entire show an act. His mother accused him of betrayal worth millions. And after burying his father, his mother, and his own son within a few short years, Rick found himself standing alone, trying desperately to rebuild what remained with something he calls Pawn Stars 2.0. Industry insiders whisper a darker truth. This may not be about legacy at all. It may be about survival. A childhood marked by loss and instability. Rick Harrison was born on March 27, 1965, in Lexington, North Carolina. Long before fame found him, life had already taught him about loss. His older sister, Sherry, died when she was just 6 years old, leaving a silence in the Harrison household that never fully healed. His father, Richard Benjamin Harrison Jr., was a strict Navy man. Discipline ruled the home. His mother, Joanne Rue Harrison, tried to keep the family grounded, even as military life forced them to move constantly. In 1967, when Rick was only 2 years old, the Navy transferred his father to San Diego. Packing boxes became routine. Stability became a luxury. Every move meant new schools, unfamiliar faces, and the pressure to adapt fast. Rick learned early that survival meant adjustment, seizures, isolation, and the escape into books. At just 8 years old, Rick's life changed again, this time inside his own body. He began suffering from seizures, violent episodes that struck about once a month, leaving him physically exhausted and bedridden for days. While other children played outside, Rick lay in dark rooms, muscles aching, waiting for recovery. Friends drifted away. Childhood passed quietly. But during those long, silent hours, Rick discovered something that would change everything. Books. Reading became his refuge, his education, his escape. He later said that books saved his life, not because they distracted him, but because they gave him purpose when his body betrayed him. One series left a permanent mark, The Great Brain. 10 books, one clever character. Rick saw himself in Tom Fitzgerald, a boy who survived by outthinking the world. Those stories taught him how to see opportunity where others saw limits. Trouble and hard lessons. By 14, Rick found another escape, marijuana. What started as relief became concern. His parents sent him to rehab the same year. Sitting in counseling rooms, Rick was forced to confront consequences earlier than most kids ever do. Those sessions planted something unexpected: discipline. He learned that shortcuts always come with a cost. School, however, continued to slip away. Frequent seizures kept him absent. By 9th or 10th grade, he dropped out, not from failure, but because the system wasn't built for someone like him in the 1970s. So Rick built his own system, the teenage hustler of Las Vegas. By the early 1980s, Rick was in Las Vegas, hustling at swap meets. As a teenager, he became the first in the city to sell fake Gucci bags, buying them for $10 in New York's Chinatown and selling them for $100 back home. Some weekends, he made $2,000. For a kid with no diploma and no safety net, it felt like freedom. When cheap imports flooded the market, Rick didn't quit. He pivoted. Fake Jordache jeans replaced handbags. The lesson stuck with him for life: adapt or disappear. Around this time, life moved fast. At 17, his girlfriend Kim became pregnant. Heartbreak came first, then joy. Their son Corey was born in April 1983, just days after Rick turned 18. Rick married Kim. 2 years later, their second son, Adam, was born. The marriage didn't survive the pressure. By 1985, they divorced. Rick took custody of both boys. Now, failure was no longer an option. Starting from nothing, the pawn shop gamble. In 1981, disaster struck the Harrison family. A real estate collapse wiped out everything Rick's parents had built in Kentucky. With only $5,000 left, the family moved to Las Vegas, desperate for a reset. They opened the gold and silver coin shop. 300 square feet, barely enough room to breathe. Rick worked days at the shop and repossessed cars at night. Some days they made less than $100, but they showed up every day. Las Vegas law at the time blocked new pawn licenses until the population reached 250,000. The city had barely 25,000 residents. Rick waited for 8 years. Every week, he called city officials to track population numbers. In April 1989, the threshold was finally reached. Rick rushed to City Hall and secured the license. The gold and silver pawn shop opened its doors, and everything changed. From local shop to cultural phenomenon. By the mid-1990s, the shop was profitable. By 2005, it was loaning out nearly $3 million annually. Rick wanted more than money. He wanted to change how people viewed pawn shops. In 2003, a brief appearance on Insomniac with Dave Attell gave him a spark. He chased that spark relentlessly. Production companies turned him down again and again. Then came the name Pawn Stars. On July 19, 2009, the show premiered. By 2011, it was pulling over 7 million viewers per episode. It aired in 150 countries, 38 languages. Pawn shops were suddenly cool. Tourists flooded the store. Daily foot traffic exploded from 100 visitors to over 5,000. Rick expanded, hired staff, renovated, built an empire. Fame, deals, and cracks beneath the surface. The show produced unforgettable moments. Rare art purchases, classic cars, historic guitars. Rick wasn't just entertaining, he was educating. But fame came with pressure. Behind the scenes, personal lives frayed. Marriages failed. Relationships strained. Chumley's legal troubles shook the brand. The death of Rick's father in 2018 broke something deep inside him. Then came the lawsuit, family betrayal, and ultimate loss. In 2022, Rick's mother Joanne sued him, claiming he tricked her into signing away her ownership while she was hospitalized. The accusations cut deeper than any headline. Then, in January 2024, Rick's son Adam died from fentanyl toxicity. He was 39. Rick spoke openly about the pain, about addiction, about regret, about trying and failing to save a child. Nothing prepares a parent for that loss. The quiet end of Pawn Stars. In 2025, Pawn Stars quietly ended. Nori nued, no announcement. Corey moved to Mexico, saying the show was fake. The cast scattered. Rick pitched Pawn Stars 2.0. Networks listened. Nothing confirmed. Today, Rick Harrison's net worth sits between $8 and $9 million. Still successful, still standing. But the empire feels fragile. The question remains, is Rick rebuilding a legacy or simply trying not to lose everything? A man who survived seizures, poverty, rejection, fame, lawsuits, and unimaginable loss now faces his hardest negotiation yet. Not with a customer, but with life itself.